Hey and welcome to MTB WOD Day 3. This is Wednesday's workout. Now, today what we're going to be focusing on is a lower body speed day. The starter, what we're going to do is we're going to mobilize a little bit. From the past few days there's been a fair amount of squats and a fair amount of heavy amounts in the quads. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 10-minute squat. And by that I mean we're just going to sit passively in the bottom of the squat. So we're going to do that. And that's going to really alleviate some of the tension we're going to have in the quads and around the glutes that we've had in the past couple of days. So we're going to do that for a little bit, and then we are going to move on to the strength portion, strength and speed portion, which is going to be goblet squats. Now these are where you got the kettlebell or any dumbbell, weight, plate, anything like that. You're holding it up in front of yourself whilst you squat. Okay? So a little bit lighter, going for slightly higher volume, but aiming for speed out at the bottom of the squat. And once we've done 3 sets of 10 of that, we are going to do the Metcon. The Metcon is going to be a bit of a grind because what it's going to be is 100 overhead walking lunges. Now you can do these with whatever weight you've got kicking about. I'm going to recommend using a barbell, but if you don't have a barbell, then use anything you've got. Weight plate, bag full of stuff, anything. And once we've done that, then I'm going to recommend we do some quad rolling and a little bit of stretching of that, because again, we're going to be hitting the quads heavy. They're our prime mover when we're cycling, so we're going to focus on them quite a lot. Right, let's get into it. So I'm setting up for the squat, same way as we usually would. We're going to set the feet outside shoulder width, pointing roughly 12 o'clock. We don't want to turn them out too much, because all it's going to do is it's going to switch off our glutes, and we're not going to be able to send the knees out past the feet. So, set with the feet outside shoulder width. Get set, get the hands out in front, drive the knees out, and hinge at the hip. And once you get down to the bottom, I want you to just relax into there, okay? So we're gonna get down into this position. I'm gonna set a timer going. And we're gonna spend 10 minutes down here. Simple as that. Don't worry about keeping a neutral spine position. Just get into this and just start to move about. Don't get too bored in there. Switch your weight between your feet. Press your palms together and drive your elbows into your knees. What you'll tend to find there is it'll open up the hips a little bit more in the inner groin area, leaving them open a little bit, but mostly just stay comfy. If you find this really difficult and you can't keep the heels in the ground, grab onto something and use that to counterbalance yourself and pull yourself onto the heels. You get something to hold on to. You might find it easier to hold this position. If you're fairly new to squatting, this is probably going to help you massively. You can also get a band, put that around something, door frame, anything like that, and just tie it onto a banister, and then just hold on to the band, and that'll give you a less solid bit of support, which is sort of the next step from having a solid pillar. If possible, try not to come up out of it. If you need to just stand up and shake it off, go for it. Minutes left, almost there. So I feel quite comfy, but definitely burning around the knees. Interested to see what the squat position feels like after this in the active squat. See if we got a little bit better mobility getting to there. I tend to find, since I haven't been squatting for a while, the bottom of my squat position is not great. I get a little bit of butt wink where my lower back just slightly folds under at the bottom of the squat, at the end range of motion. So interested to see if this helps that at all. Feels pretty damn good. Good positioning. Right, I'm going to go with my kettlebell. Back in a second. Now, for part B, as I said, what we're going to do is we are going to use a kettlebell or any other sort of weight you've got. The prescribed weight for the gents is 24 kilos, for the ladies 16 kilos. And that's a prescribed weight. Feel free to change that if you feel like that's not enough or if that's too much. But yeah, note it down whatever you used. Next time if these come up, try and go a bit harder. I'm going to use a kettlebell. I'm going to use a 24 kilo kettlebell. And what we're going to do is we're doing it as a goblet squat. What this basically means is we're going to hold it like a chalice in front of us, okay? This is going to require us to try and keep a nice upright upper back, not to fold in, because if we fold in, it's just going to fall out our hands. So the upper back tension is going to be important here. What we're going to do is we're going to take it fairly slow down in the squat. So we're going to go down, nice and measured, and then we're going to fire back up. When we fire back up, what we're really looking to do is try and switch our glutes on all the way from the bottom and really try and open the hip as we come up. And do that with a big expression of speed, okay? And this is going to lead to good power output, okay? Key thing is to push through the heel, okay? Don't want anyone to come up on their toes or anything like that. When you're driving up off the ground, push the floor away with your heels, okay? So from the front, that should look like this. And just in case anyone hasn't used kettlebells before or done a kettlebell swing, what I would recommend is set up like a deadlift, hinge from the hip, swing it up and get it in place and hold it like this. If you find that difficult or you're not okay with the technique, and we haven't really gone through kettlebells that much, please be safe. Don't do anything that is going to harm you in any way. Pick up something you can pick it up off of a height, anything like that works, okay? So we're going to set up for our squat. We're going to keep the elbows stacked under the weight. We're going to descend. Again. Okay, from the side. It's pretty tricky to hold the upper back and hold the elbows under, keep the weight up towards the end of that set. Last 3 reps is getting tricky, but as long as you're still able to move with speed and good form, then it's a good weight for you. If you can't move with speed and you're struggling to get up with speed, drop the weight down. Today is really about moving fast with it, okay? The main thing this is going to carry across to is power output, sheer power output when you're cycling. If you think about it, when you're cycling, you're in this position when you're pedaling. So you're not in full hip range of motion, but you're not far off of it. And then when your knees come up, you are getting into almost full range motion squat. So doing it all the way through the range. So when I say range, I mean taking it from the top here, which is the fully open hip, going down to below parallel. So what you really notice is that my hip is below my knee there. So the thigh should be just below parallel. That means you've got the best amount of force production the whole way through your range. 3 sets done. Should feel pretty taxing as you get towards the end of the sets. Should still be able to maintain the speed though. Any questions about those? Hit me up in the comments. So, as you may have noticed, it's pretty damn dark out here. The prescribed workout for today, or Metcon, is 100 overhead walking lunges. Now, I've never done this WOD before. It could be terrible. I know it's going to be good for me, but it could feel terrible. So, we'll see how we get on with that. I'm sure I'll be fine. One thing that is a problem though is finding some space that's vaguely lit that you can do the distance in. It's really horrible trying to do it on the spot, and also you don't necessarily move in the right way when you're doing on the spot lunges. They're a slightly different type of movement. Overhead and walking forwards, you bias pushing off of the heel on the front foot. So when you come down into the lunge, you're aiming to push off of that front foot and move up and forwards, which is completely different to stepping back and then up, or to step forward and then back again, okay? Quite different movements. So we're gonna do the overhead walking lunges. I'm gonna do them in the garden here. I've got this little head torch, so I'm gonna put that on so I can see where I'm actually going. And let's see how this works. By the way, a point to remember is, if you're doing this and you find that you can't hold the overhead position, it's simply not working for you, then you can go into a front rack position or put the bar on your back, any way that works, and just keep doing the lunges. And then if you can, return to the overhead position once you've had a bit of a shoulder rest, that's what I meant to say. Especially after the past few days, your triceps and biceps might be a little bit smashed, shoulders might be a little bit sore, so keep that in mind, train safe, don't let the bar come down on you, and yeah, keep the intensity high. That's the main thing, keep the intensity high. If that means bringing the bar down to the shoulders, go for it, but try and get it back up there again. $7:07. 7 minutes, 7 seconds. It's a quick one, but a bad one. As you can see, the overhead position is hard to maintain. I'm going to be interested to retest that WOD after we've done some more overhead work and see if my overhead strength comes back at all, because that was a poor showing, but it's all a journey. Like I said, just keep moving. You saw me go from doing 20 overhead, and then I did 20 on the back, did 10 overhead, and just kind of alternated. I also threw in some front rack versions there. They're a good one if your overhead position's not, basically if you want something harder than the back rack position but the overhead is too much of a stretch, go for the front rack. It taxes you a little bit more and the weight is on your chest, so you're less able to breathe. Not in a horrifically evil way, just it adds an extra element of difficulty to it. It means you really have to push yourself, and it's the weights over the front as well, so trying to keep the upright neutral spine really helps on that one. If you let it come off the front of you, it's just going to get a whole lot harder. Whew. So that's the end of day 3, mountain bike WOD 3, Wednesday. I'm going to recommend as soon as you finish this workout, get on the foam roller, work down those quads again. It's going to be something I recommend. I mean, I'm going to stop saying it because I recommend you do it every day basically. It's going to be integral to meaning you've got healthy, strong quadriceps and that you don't have any issues with your hips at all. Shout out to my man Alan Doyle. He came straight back into fitness after having a little bit of a break, and he almost thought he was gonna not be able to ride again really, because he came straight into running and various other things, but he came into it really fast, and I think just a combination of things happened, a bit of inflammation, but also just one of those things, if you've not stretched your quads much before, there's going to be a lot of inbuilt tension in there, and a lack of mobility, which is going to affect both the knees and the hips, and for him it was the hips. So make sure those frontal hip structures are moving. Do the couch stretch. I'm going to put up an individual video about these things because I think it's really important, so there'll be like a mobility playlist, but we'll get there eventually. Just realised it's pitch black and you probably can't see me right now, but the voice is enough. Yeah, go roll off the quads. Let's go through a bit of a stretch sequence on them as well. Go through the couch stretch. It's going to be the most important here. And let's be ready for tomorrow and for the fun that brings. Catch you there.